I had a temporary solution for my Glowforge venting, and the hose supplied some Celotex, a tomato can, worked very well, but I wanted a permanent solution or a little more lasting, so I made a quick disconnect connect using rare earth magnets and avoided having to buy any um, draft blockers, vent caps, extra lengths of hose, or any other kinds of connectors that might be needed. Hi, it's Marion McCarowitz, and I have a pre-release Glowforge, and I'm going to show my venting solution. So we're going to talk through the design file here. The design consists of a window mount with the surface and back plate, and a hose mount with the surface and back plate. And the both of the plates have holes through them of different sizes. And one on the back plate's a little bit smaller to accommodate the outside diameter of a 20-ounce can, tomato can. Whole tomatoes is what I usually do. And then the surface plate is a little bit bigger to fit the rim. Then we have 4 magnet recesses that we engrave to recess in hot glue or epoxy some rare earth magnets in. And so they're 8.4 inches or millimeters. And then I like to score them just to ensure we clean up the edge. At that time, I thought I needed to. If you just engrave them, that it's a perfect pocket, circular pocket, so no need to score on that. So I have a surface plate that has the magnets, the 4 magnets, and then the backing plate. And those go over a can, and then the hose connects to that can, and then the other set of surface and back plates connects to the other half of the can, which goes into Celotex or wood or whatever you have in the window opening. At this time I thought about doing a plug, so the inside of the hole cut out for the front and back plates, I made a little bit of 2 plates that would sandwich the Celotex cutout into a plug that would go into the window, and put a hole in that wood so I could get a cable through them. Next is thinking about the gaskets. How do you get the weatherproofing to ensure that the air from the outside or the air from the Glowforge doesn't vent into the room? So I had some leather, 3 to 4 ounce leather, cut 2 gaskets, well, in the end, and so the gaskets go on the 2 back plates in around where the magnets are. And I have pretty detailed instructions on the Inkscape file with different layers that you can turn on and off, and you can lock or unlock. And having them different layers and different colors really helps you to step through the design. So the whole design, every part you really need is all in the one design file, which is pretty handy to have. So you're going to print 2 sets of the materials, and you mirror the second one to allow for any kind of misalignment of the design, since the the window plates go to the hose plate. And if you turn the instructions off before you import it into the Glowforge, they're not going to show up. So that's pretty handy. And that's the file that you need. And just get some 1/4 inch plywood, less than a 1/4 inch. It doesn't matter how thick or thin it is. You'll be fine. And import it into the Glowforge. Once it gets into the Glowforge, it'll open up into the user workspace. That's when you designate the settings for cutting, scoring, engraving. We have uncertified material, which just simply means it's not proof grade. So we put in the thickness in inches, 0.195 inches. And that's the plywood I have there. It's pretty cheap plywood. Nice on one side, grainy on the other. And we are going to ignore the leather. We're going to engrave the magnets and trying to get a sense of depth and resolution. You can change that with your power, your speed, and your lines per inch to get different depths. And I will score around those engraves, not really necessary, but it's a little bit cleaner line sometimes if you're not using a high res engraving. Then a nice cut, 80% power, 15% or 15 inches per minute, and double check your work. Double check the positioning of your design on the board. Notice I have some rare earth magnets. Those are just ceramic magnets in there to hold the board down, to give it a little bit of stability in case the air. This board is heavy enough; it's not going to matter too much, and there are no small parts that are going to get blown around. But this helps with alignment. Move it up to avoid too much waste on the plywood. And those are 6x6 plates, so 12.5 inch piece of wood would be enough for give you a little bit of space to room for error in positioning. 12-minute print, mainly because of the engraving of the pockets for the magnets. And after it's set up, you reach over, press the button, and it does its stuff. Got some 2-part epoxy, mixed it together. I would recommend that you clear off all the char of your pieces before you use epoxy, because otherwise you get some nice black epoxy on your fingers. That's alright. Prototype. Magnets, how do they work? It's magic. They jump around like crazy. Want to get them oriented correctly so that they mate. The two sections mate, and they're a tight fit in those recesses there. So I put a little marker on there to indicate which side goes out and which side goes in, and place the magnets. And it's a challenge to get the epoxy neat, not all over the magnets and not all over yourself. The second one I used hot glue, and that seemed to be a little bit more forgiving, and I didn't end up burning my fingers holding them in there. Didn't epoxy my fingers into the magnets. And then checking out the fit of the circle. Of course, it's gonna fit perfectly. It's cut from the rings that we had. I think this is like a 3-ounce veg tanned leather I had. Thanks, Drea, for sending me some. And let's see, what else do we have? So I'm going to put some more magnets on here, I believe. Finish that up. And notice the smudges here on the second one. And it's quite the challenge to get these together. But you manage. It's alright. And gluing on the rest of the leather to the second piece. I think that was really what made the most mess, was the char on the leather, because I didn't have any masking on the leather, and those edges got a little dark. But prototype, and it works really good. Or very well, I should say. And next is to finish placing the magnets and then glue the top plate to the back plate. And keep some wood around so you can spread the glue, spread the epoxy, instead of grabbing the magnets with your utility knife. There's a shot of the front and back plate getting knocked together. Here's the cans cut apart, put a little duct tape around them. Here's the finished ring and the two sets ready to go, window and door, or window and hose. Here's the window vent. It's cut deep enough so that it meets the outside screen that's still in place. So there's a window screen. Here's the initial plug that I made, and the pen tool to put the cable through. The cable was a good idea. I guess, but creative. And here is the decision that I need to make it look a little bit nicer. So I grabbed a design of a Roman utility cover and did a little work on that. Vectorized the whole thing. By hand, it works out better that way. Inkscape does okay with tracing, but sometimes it works, sometimes it's just easier, especially if you're going from a photo like I had. Just design it yourself and punch it through so you get the right thing to engrave. This one I pulled it in and it was reverse of what I needed to do, so I went back out and exported the bitmap correctly so that the engrave and the relief sections are correct. Hey, something's wrong here. I forgot to set the settings. Tried to hit twice and forgot to set the settings for the engrave. So go through each step, check out the steps, and go through there. And a little bit of placement. We're going to try to print again here shortly. One's going to be flat, just plain and a cutout, and that's got the engrave on it. The other one has the magnet recesses engraved in and a hole cut out to place the plug for the hole in the window, the window opening. Just some more views of the interface, ignoring what I need to ignore, checking what I need to cut, and still not quite getting it all ready. Check through my settings. You click on one of the steps and it highlights what you want to do in the workspace. Now I'm importing the bitmap that has the engraving. I think 600 by 600, so pretty good size. Bringing it back in. Could have done a little bit better on placement around the cut lines, but prototype. Here's where we try to print and don't have any settings for the engraving of the vent cover. So does the calculations, you wait, and checking out the bed, see if it's ready. Head comes over, does a little poke, prod, flash, and error message. Pay attention. Pay attention. That's a good point, to just look at all those steps and have it clear in your mind what you're going to do and not rush. But it turned out fine. Double checking every setting this time. What did I do wrong? Forgot to put in engrave setting. And I think we're good to go here. I hope. If you have the file correct, Glowforge just does it. I'm never second guessing. Now, why didn't it do what I wanted it to do? No, it doesn't do something because I didn't have the setup correct. I get the setup correct as the vectors and engraved and get the settings filled in, press that print button. It works every time. It's never paused that said something's wrong. It's never gone wonky. It's never skipped a line. If the design is correct and the settings are correct, the Glowforge executes it flawlessly every time in these last six weeks. Once that head starts going, it finishes and it's perfect. It processes the design without skipping a beat, and that's really amazing for me. I mean, yeah, they've had a year of work on it, but still, it's not what I'm concerned about. It's getting the design correctly, getting the settings in there right. But once it gets into the Glowforge, hardware-wise, no problem. So here's the plug, the vent cover with the little utility cover motif, ventolo di scarico, Italian, a exhaust vent, discharge vent, you could say. And here it is over the side on the window. Thanks for watching. Hope it helps you out.